Hi, today's Working Out Your Relationship has to do with noticing when your outward emotional reaction is larger than the facts of the circumstance.
Hi, we're Simon and Martin, and we are your relationship coaches with SMM Coaching and Consulting, here today with another Working Out Your Relationship. So think about the last time that you had an experience where either you reacted or somebody else reacted and you thought, wow, that seems to be really big compared to what the circumstance is. This happens to a lot of us, and this is not unique to anybody. We all have these episodes that happen. But when it happens, it gives us an opportunity to kind of pause and ask ourselves some questions.
To us, this is a big sign when it happens that something from the past is showing up in the present. When we see that out of proportionness, it's like, whoa, we're not invalidating that emotional reaction or the intensity, but it's a recognizing instead of saying, wait a minute, something else is in this space that is showing up and interacting with the circumstances.
And so, this can happen in really small circumstances. Let's say I forget to take the garbage out and Martin just blows up. Well, that's probably not about the garbage, right? It's probably something else. And so recognizing that is sort of the first thing. Or if I blow up at something, Martin made the mess in the kitchen and didn't clean up. If I blow up at that, then that's more than just the fact that the kitchen is dirty, because the kitchen being dirty is pretty easy to fix, right? So those are the kinds of some of the things and situations that you might be noticing. Or maybe you're at work and you're working hard and all of a sudden somebody comes in and you kind of blow up at them for asking you to do something. Those kinds of things are probably indicators for ourselves to start thinking about.
Mm-hmm. We also want to share that it isn't just a blowing up, it could be a melting down as well. Or it could be that freeze response. So if we think about that alarm in our brain sending us into fight, flight, or freeze, all of those type of reactions can be really big, bigger than the facts of the situation. So Simon, what do you do when you notice that for yourself? What's your process when you become aware?
Yeah, so I think the first step is saying, wow, I have a really big emotion here. And I have to then be willing to pause and ask myself some questions. Is this situation really that big? And sometimes it feels that way, but then I have to get myself into recognizing what the facts are. But I also need to honor the fact that I have this emotion. It's really important to say, if I'm frustrated or I'm mad, to say, I'm angry. Now, I need to make some connections. And one of those connections is, what does this remind me of? What does this situation remind me of? Because when I go into that place, it actually brings things that really happened in the past into the present awareness to say, oh, but is this the same or is it not the same? And even if it is the same, is it big or is it not big? And so to really try and get to this process of, one, being aware of the emotion, two, trying to remember what it reminds me of, and three, then really kind of getting to some facts about what's actually in the present to see what is going on in the present. What about for you?
I'm thinking that time can be a barrier and a boundary. And I do that when I'm following that same process as you. I often think like, oh, that happened when I was 10 years old. That can be a boundary to go, and now I'm an adult. Yep. Like I'm literally walking myself through that process of saying, that's not the circumstance I'm in anymore, or that's not who I am at this moment. So once again, it's not invalidating, but it's recognizing that an emotional memory is showing up in the present. And oftentimes those hard things in our childhood or something that's happened even in young adulthood show up as emotional memories. And that's where the emotion just feels like it's taking over.
And it's important to recognize that the emotions, the stronger the emotions we've had in the past, the stronger the reaction and the stronger the memory is. And so when we have these really strong emotions, it really can be helpful to remember what it reminds you of and and then either leave that and say, that's not me anymore, or to bring it forward and say, this is what's what it's reminding me of. And I can tell you in conversations that we've had over, more recently, to be able to say when those big emotions come out, to say, what's this really reminding you? What's the story in your head? And it's amazing how we can learn about things that have happened in the past that actually are still areas of woundedness or areas of hurt, even areas of trauma. And by bringing it forward and being able to talk about it, we can get some healing in that as well. So there's a lot of kind of ways to do that. And a lot of times it is, hey, that's not what this is. And I can leave that in the past. And sometimes there is some similarities, and now I need to work through that a little bit.
One more point that I want to bring up is several people have been raised in a home where they've had some emotional reaction and then have been shamed for that.
Yeah.
Like common things are like, you're being ridiculous, or you're too emotional. Like phrases like that, like you're crying over nothing, or stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. And those are all invalidation to our emotions are there. Our emotions are real and they're there for a reason. So if you've had that type of language, you can also notice when you go into that self-criticism and from those past voices to slow that down and to go, no, my emotions are here for a reason. I'm going to honor that. And this gives me an opportunity to explore what's really going on.
It's important to remember our emotions are real. Our emotions aren't things to invalidate. They're actually things to embrace. And so when we have these emotional states, if we embrace them, we can learn a lot about ourselves, and we can learn a lot about how we can heal from some of these hurts in the past. This can be really tough for some people because there's some real trauma. And so we don't want to invalidate that. Mm-hmm. We recognize, and if there's things that we can do to help, please reach out to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we would love to hear your comments, your questions, and if this is happening to you quite often, we are here to partner with you, help you to sort these things out and move on forward on that path of healing.
Absolutely. So thanks for listening today. I appreciate that. Again, if you're interested in more, we do have our YouTube channel. We'd love for you to share that with your friends, to subscribe. If you want any more information about how you can connect with Maren and I, please go to our website at SMM Coaching Consulting. And again, we do have a wellness community that we would love to invite you to called Empowering Minds. And again, those links are on the screen here. And we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you again in our next Working Out Your Relationship video. Have a great day.